say this man, Jesus Dowston, is responsible for shooting and killing popular social media influencer Yareli Hermosillo.
He obviously didn't know the other car was there.
According to court paperwork, Dowston got into a minor verbal fight with another driver on the road. Once the two cars got to the stoplight at 51st and Camelback, he took out a gun, but he pointed it the opposite direction, then pulled the trigger. That bullet went into a car not involved in the fight, killing Yareli. Dowston immediately drove away.
You know, those are the responsibilities of being a responsible gun owner. You can't just fire rounds randomly throughout specifically a highly populated city.
Police say Yareli's mother and her 3-year-old daughter were in the car when it happened. They rushed her to the hospital, but it was too late. Her family describes Yareli as a beautiful person who meant the world to many, her fans posting goodbyes on social media. Police were able to track Dowston down with video surveillance.
Tracking from one location to another, switching cameras and continuing to follow the individual.
Jesus Dowston now faces serious charges, including second-degree murder. He also has a lengthy criminal record. We have more about him on our website at azfamily.com. Reporting in Glendale, I'm Sarah Robinson for Arizona's Family.